Hello, YouTube fans. This is TheSkullKlown. It's still the same day when I made that video about Disney and all that stuff. So the date. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. The date today is May 21st, 2025. Now, you can tell from the title why I love turn-based RPGs, and I will discuss a little bit of why. I will discuss the hate of turn-based RPGs. I never got the hate for turn-based RPGs. That's the thing. People that hate playing turn-based RPGs, some of them just go straight to Pokemon, and they be like, "Okay, I have my fill," and then they play Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, and they're like, "Fuck you guys, you're not like Pokemon." The thing is, man, like it's so stupid. I remember seeing a clip of a guy giving his girlfriend turn-based RPGs, and she started shitting on all of them. But once he gave her Pokemon, oh, it was fine. Bitch, maybe you shouldn't play turn-based to begin with. Go fuck yourself, you damn whore. Yep, I said it. I don't give a shit. What are you gonna say to me? What are you gonna tell me? I don't give a fuck. Seriously, I'm 31 years old. I don't have to listen to anything in the internet what anyone says. I'm a grown ass fucking goddamn man. All right. Seriously, man. I could get probably women just because of my hair. Literally. Seriously. And if I ever get any rudeness or comments, well, you know what? You're out of here. You're fucking out of here. But I will ask nicely this: why do you hate turn-based RPGs? You know, I can understand if you feel like, hey, it's not for you. You tried it, it's not for you, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I've told this before to people too. First-person shooters are not my thing. As a teenager and as a kid, I hated them. Hated them. But then I played BioShock, and that is an RPG. And it is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's an action RPG, a first-person RPG game, but it's so good. It's so fun, and ever since I played BioShock on the PS3, that was my first game I ever got for the PS3. It was so good, so good. You know why? And I'll tell you this too. I'm a big fan of what is it, Metroidvania games. I don't care for that genre, but I play the video game Control, and I played games like Symphony of the Night. I enjoyed the shit out of them, you know. So it's funny that I can say that, hey, I don't like this type of genre, but if I play it, I might find some enjoyment out of it. But when it comes to people that hate turn-based, they can never find anything enjoyment out of it. Nothing. And maybe you can. If you can, let me know. But when I see on the internet, people just hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And if you're one of those people that played turn-based and your very first turn-based was Pokemon, and you can only play Pokemon and can't play Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or Chrono Trigger or Expedition 33 or Mario and Luigi Saga, then you know what? You're nothing but a Pokemon whore, in my opinion. You're just gonna talk shit about the series, about the turn-based series, but then go to a kiddie bullshit genre of Pokemon. And I'm not talking about the original Pokemons that came out for the Game Boy. Those were hardcore. Those had balls. Alright? You had to pay attention of what you had to do. You had to actually get different versions of Pokemon. You didn't have to. It would have been harder, yes, but the game incented you to, hey, get this Pokemon that is Earth base. Get this Pokemon that is Dark base. Get this Pokemon that is Lightning base. It encouraged you to get certain Pokemons. You know, that's why I wasn't a big fan of the Pokemon DS era, mainly because it didn't encourage you to get those type of Pokemons, basically. But the Game Boy color versions, the Game Boy versions, and the Game Boy Advance versions, in my opinion, they encourage you to do that. But after the Game Boy Advance era, there would literally Game Freak, I believe, that people that make these games were like, well, fuck it. It's like they decided to just drop the whole thing. What made Pokemon great, you know? Like if I use Pikachu against a water monster, it would take more damage, you know? But at the same time, if they threw water at me, I'd take more damage too, you know? Because I was electric and I would basically get fucked up by myself because I'm electric. You see what I'm talking about? Oh, it's so good, man. I'm talking about that, man. It's so fucking good. And then if you have a fire-based Pokemon and you're fighting a green grass Pokemon, you fire it, and then like fire can happen to you. I'm not saying it happened in all Pokemon games, but fire could happen to you because you're on a grass field and you threw fire. Now fire is everywhere and you're getting hurt. Remember that? Remember that? I'm sure it happens in the new Pokemon stuff, and I'm sure that in the old Pokemon, the Game Boy, the Game Boy originals, they didn't really do that until probably the Game Boy Advance and Color one. Um, but I kind of remember one of those Pokemon games that was like that. I can't remember which one. But man, when that was happening, when I was playing that type of Pokemon game, I'm over here like, I appreciated turn-based RPGs so much more. And then once I played, because I wanted to get into Dragon Quest so much, you know. But let me tell you my story real quick with turn-based RPGs. My first turn-based RPG game I ever played was Pokemon, the originals. You know, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Red. I love Pokemon Red. Pokemon Red is the GOAT for me. I could play Yellow. I love Yellow because it has Pikachu on it. It looks cool. But Pokemon Red was my Pokemon game. It was. I didn't care about Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Green. I wanted Pokemon Red. Why? Because I was a huge fan of Charizard. I fucking love that Pokemon to death. Alright? I love him more than Pikachu. I feel like Charizard should have been the main mascot instead of fucking Pikachu. But you know how anime is. They like to get a cute, colorful mascot, and it's a turn-based RPG. That's what they do. It's always been that way in RPGs. Action or turn-based RPGs. Have a cute, colorful mascot with you. It even happens in Expedition 33. So that type of style hasn't died, which I appreciate. I'm glad it hasn't died. It shouldn't die. You know, because how are you going to sell merchandise? Look at Pikachu. You know? And people have been calling back for that puffy Pikachu back, because the Pikachu that we see now, I'm not a big fan of. I love the fat Pikachu, the chunky Pikachu. I love that one. I always love that version of Pikachu because they made him too skinny. Well, not skinny. It's just the redesign looks to me. I'm like, I mean, he doesn't really look like a mouse anymore. He just looks like almost like a rabbit. And he shouldn't look like a rabbit. He should look like a mouse with chubby cheeks. And that's what he looked like in the original. You know? He's an electric mouse, for crying out loud. Give him those cute chubby cheeks. Make him a little bit chunky. Come on. You know, I guarantee you, if you had the Pikachu design now and the Pikachu design from the 90s, the old one that was chunky, I guarantee you a lot of ladies will look at that and grab him more than the other one. Why? Because he looks more adorable that way. He does. He does. That's just me. But again, that's just me. I kind of wish they still kept that design in Smash Brothers, but they didn't. You know, I can understand different styles and different art designs, but how cool would it have been if you pick Pikachu and they have different art designs of him throughout the years of Pokemon? Oh, beautiful, awesome, love it. Have my babies. I'm dead serious. Oh man, stuff like that, I live for. I live for and eat it up. So yes, Pokemon was my first turn-based RPG, and I never went back. But what really got me into turn-based RPGs even more was the Game Boy Advance version of Final Fantasy 1 and 2. The was it Dawn of Souls remake of Final Fantasy 1 and 2. And I never looked back. I remember playing Pokemon. Obviously, I thought that was kind of challenging and kind of hard, but it was still, you could still kind of get through it and everything like that, you know, because I was still trying to learn how turn-based RPGs worked and all that. But Final Fantasy 1, I was totally like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. I don't know where to go. I'm out of my element. Donnie, you're out of your element. If you know that reference, we can be best friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But seriously, man, I was literally like, when I look back at myself when I was playing the first Final Fantasy game, I'm literally screaming at myself when I'm in my mom's bedroom playing that game as like a 13 or 12-year-old kid. And now I'm looking at back as a 30-year-old man looking at myself. I'm like, you're out of your element. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're supposed to do this, that. No, why'd you waste money on that? You idiot. Start over, get new party members. No, I don't want no crying, you little bitch. You better fucking do this, and you better play like a man. No. You know how you like look back at yourself and you tell yourself that, and you know your little kid self will look at you and be like, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just gushing right now because I love turn-based RPGs, bro. I love it. I love it. So I kept playing some Final Fantasy games that were turn-based. One of the action RPG games I did play of Final Fantasy was Crisis Core. I don't get the hate for Crisis Core. I love Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. It introduced me more to Final Fantasy VII. And when I did eventually play Final Fantasy VII, I completely enjoyed it. I did. I haven't beaten it, but I do love it. And I got far enough to know how the story is because I watched, shout out to H.C. Bailey. H.C. Bailey, without him, I want to get into some of these games. You know, eventually I played Final Fantasy Legends, which, in my opinion, Final Fantasy Legends is one of the biggest inspirations on me for my game. I fucking love Final Fantasy Legends 1, 2, and 3. 3 has a good soundtrack. Fucking good soundtrack. Not to say the other two don't have good soundtracks, but Final Fantasy Legends 3 has such a great fucking soundtrack. And the thing is, in Japan, it wasn't even called Final Fantasy Legends. It was called Saga. You know? The Saga games. So I don't know how the Saga games are. I don't know how people feel about the Saga games today. They did re-release the original Saga games on the Game Boy, the original Game Boy on the Switch. I don't know if it's in other platforms, but I did get it on the Switch, and I'm still playing through them. You know, taking my time with them. I think I did beat the first one, but I'm playing through the second one a little bit slowly and all that because these games are not that long. They're not that long. I remember hearing that Final Fantasy Legends, the creators wanted to be like a little, if you were taking a plane to Tokyo to America, I think it was, that would be like one of those long trips. Like it would be like short that way, basically. From what I could heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so many information about turn-based RPGs. And turn-based RPGs has started back all the way with Dungeons and Dragons, Ultima, and Wizardry. It started in America, not in Japan. Japan made it famous, but it all started here in America with Dungeons and Dragons, Ultima, and Wizardry. And those people in Japan saw those games and fell in love with it and was trying to figure out how to bring that into a format of video games. You know, not to say there was not one. There was one that was called D&D, and it was all just black and orangey, and you had a character, and your main goal was to defeat the dragon, get the chalice, I believe, and then go back all the way out of the dungeon, and then you win, basically. I almost did that in my game too, but my game is hard as shit, so I didn't want to get the player pissed off. But by the time you get that, you already have so many good items, so many good abilities, and really good weaponry at that point. So there is that. But if you haven't watched, what's his name called? RPG something. He made a review of Wizardry, or was it Ultima? And then he's like, all right, I beat the boss. And he put the code in to get out of the dungeon. And then all the players died. And he's like, no, that's the correct password. That's the correct password. Does it online. There. Now I do it online. Like, he does it on his computer. And he still dies. He's like, because back then, if your party members died, you had to get a new one. To get them back, and you had to make sure those party members that You had to make sure the new party members that you had to get the old party members that you had did not die. And if they did die, guess what? You had to make another party member to get those party members and the other party members that you lost. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now I can understand that people not liking, because when I heard that, I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of glad I died off, because nowadays, like, people wouldn't. I wouldn't play that shit. Like, I would play the game, obviously, but when I press the code and automatically it's like, oh well, y'all characters died. I would just would have been like, okay, that's the ending. Beat the boss, all characters died. Game over. Bye. That's what I would have done, you know. But this game, the inspiration from this video that I'm making right now is from what's her name? What's her name? What's the woman called? Um, I'm Anna Mondeley. I hope I'm saying her name right. But I'll put her video in the description box here. Without her video, I want to be making this video right now. So shout out to you. Thank you for that video, because I love turn-based RPGs to death. I love them. I fucking love them. Um, so what stopped me playing some Final Fantasy games? What stopped made me play some Final Fantasy games is because of Square Enix. I played Final Fantasy 15. I love the characters, but the combat could have been better, and it took so long for the game to come out. And then how the game was at the end of the day was literally like more side stuff. And here's a short story. I hate when games do that. Here's a whole bunch of side stuff that to distract you with the main story, and then when you do this main story, it's short as shit. I hated that in Dark Knight. I hated that in Batman Arkham City. I hated that. I hated that in Batman Arkham City. And Batman the Arkham series is an RPG. It's just action based. You know, that's another action RPG that is beloved, as it should be, except for the last game. I think the last game is pure trash. That's just me. It is. I mean, the visuals look great, and the skin swaps of different Batmans over the years is great. But overall, I just didn't care for it. The fact that you had to get the real ending to do the fact that you had to get the real ending to do the Riddler stuff to get the real ending is bullshit. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to do no more. Fuck off. Seriously. The Riddler stuff was an option, which was great. You know, to make the player to go back and give them a chance to actually do it. But when it was mandatory to literally do it to get the true ending, that's when I was like, fuck off. This game sucks. Sometimes it only takes one thing to tell me that this game sucks. Especially if I was going through the game and it was dragging to the point that I was like, fuck it. It does have its moments. I would say that. Batman Arkham Knight does have its moments. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It does have its moments. But overall, I'd rather just play Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And Arkham Origins. Yes, I said it. I fucking said it. And Blackgate. Yup, I said it. I said it. I said it. So, moving on. Moving on. The reason I stopped playing these Final Fantasies is because of Square. I still would play the old ones, you know. I would still play Final Fantasy 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, I probably would play 10 too one day, you know, if I get the collection of 10. Because I did got 10 the collection one day, and I tried to put it on my PS4. It did not play for shit. It didn't play at all. It didn't play. And I'm looking at the disc, and I'm like, is it scratched? Is it dirty? No scratches at all. It didn't have scratches you know how it had scratches in the middle of where the disc reads to the point. It didn't have that. So I just told myself that this game is unplayable, mainly because Square Enix fucked up the disc or something. I don't know what they did. I don't know what's going on. I did got it used, so maybe it was from the different owner, you know. So maybe I have to get it on the Switch one day. The original Switch, not the fucking Switch 2. I'm not buying that shit. You can fucking kiss my ass with that shit. Seriously. Or I could just get a Steam Deck and play it. Seriously. But, I definitely want to do that with Expedition 33 because I want to take that game everywhere I go. Fuck yeah. Taking the games on the go, I've said this for years. Like that is going to be the future of gaming, and guess what? It's starting to be. Consoles might be a thing of the past, while while gaming on the portable platform might be a thing for the future. Why do you think the Switch was so successful? You know, because it is good to bring your console out in the open, but also come back, relax, and put that thing in and just play it. You know, that is the future of gaming. When I saw that from Nintendo with the original Switch, I was just like, that is the future of gaming right there. That right there. And then everyone kind of, in a way, kind of follows suit with it. Um, Not to the extent like Nintendo, but it was enough for people to be like, oh, okay, people do want games on the go. And it's like, well, yeah, I've been saying that forever. That's why I love the Game Boy games so fucking much. You know? Because taking your games on the go, like, yeah, fuck everyone else that has a console and staying at home because they can't bring it home. Oh, but you don't have this on the on that console or on the Game Boy or on the PSP, and I can still take my games on the go. I'm such a dick. But anyways, moving on. Um, what got me more? Well, not got me more. When Final Fantasy couldn't give me the fix that I wanted, I went to Dragon Quest. Play Dragon Quest. My first Dragon Quest game I did ever played was 6, I believe, and I never beat it. I had it, but I never beat it because I couldn't quite understand what I was doing, and I thought I was fucking up, so I never beat it. But then eventually I came back to Dragon Quest, and it's funny too because there was a Dragon Quest game when I was a little kid when I saw the trailer. You know how you get a PS1 demo disc, and you see the trailers and stuff like that. My very first Dragon Quest I ever saw was Dragon Quest 7, but I didn't know what the title was because I had trouble reading and I didn't know what it was. All I saw was a logo with a boat and a sea. And then eventually when Dragon Quest 7 got remastered for the 3DS, I finally remember what it was. I'm like, I saw Dragon Quest 7. Dragon Quest 7 was my very first Dragon Quest game I ever fucking saw. I never played it, but that was the first turn-based game I ever first Dragon Quest turn-based game I ever saw, you know, as a child, you know. So I'm just glad I went full circle with it because my little kid self would have loved that game to death. Because the game is so fun. The game is fun. Dragon Quest 7, it doesn't have the popularity as Final Fantasy 7, but to be honest, I think Dragon Quest 7 deserves it. It does. Now, as more as Final Fantasy, I think they both deserve equally. Because to me, Final Fantasy 7 is not the best Final Fantasy game. Don't kill me in the comments. Don't kill me. No, no. Ah! No. To me, it's not the best Final Fantasy game. It's not. It's a good game, though. It is a good game. Final Fantasy 7 is not a bad game. It's a good game. Great soundtrack. Great characters. And I love the story. The story is good. It is. Again, like I said before, H.C. Bailey, without H.C. Bailey, shout out to you, man. I would have known none of these turn-based RPGs, you know? So eventually I got into Dragon Quest, and I haven't looked back since. Seriously. I eventually got Dragon Quest 3 because I thought I heard that one was the most popular one, so I got it on the Game Boy Color, and I played it a bit. I still haven't beat it. But I did get eventually the Switch version, and I need to go back to that and play Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch. I beat 1 on the Switch, and I'm glad that I did. I know the graphics look like a phone game or something like that, or something that you see in a RPG Maker game. Yeah. But it still was fun, still was great, and I still got that experience of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, Dragon Quest. Well, in a way, it was kind of true. The first Final Fantasy game is literally Dungeons and Dragons, the video game. That's why when we got the Dungeons and Dragons movie not that long ago that came out a few years back in 2020, I thought that movie was great. I saw that movie and I was like, this is the Final Fantasy movie I've been waiting for years. If we never get a Final Fantasy movie, which we did once, but I still haven't seen Spirits Within. I still haven't seen that. So now I heard that people are starting to like it and stuff like that. I've been put off by it so much just because the stuff that people have told me about it, especially the creators of Final Fantasy. So I know my friend has told me a long time. I'm like, we should see it, and I'm like, so maybe I should give it a chance one day, you know. Um, so yeah, maybe one day the character could come back. One day, if the person that watched that movie was a big fan of it, and they could just insert them in a Square Enix game as like a mini boss or just a what is it, a battle arena boss or something like that. I don't mind, because I think the character from that movie, Spirits Within, deserves more of a light. To be honest, just because the movie failed for Square Enix doesn't mean that we should throw off the character altogether. It's the same thing with the Final Fantasy anime series that they had when the guy's using a gun and he puts a summon inside his gun and he shoots and the summon comes out of. Oh, it's so good, so fucking good, so fucking good. How come they don't acknowledge those characters? See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Man. Square Enix is a stupid fucking cunt, man. They really are. They're a stupid fucking cunt. How come we don't have that character or the other character from Spirits Within and the character from the Final Fantasy anime series in a Dissidia game? It would have put more exposure on those characters, but then it would have told people, hey, who are these characters? Oh, and then they would have given a sentence to check those out. Why is that a bad thing? Even if they don't like it, at least you give them to a sentence to, hey, check it out. If you like it, cool. If you don't, well, okay. You know? To bring new fans into the fan base, into the light of the characters or something like that. That's just me. But, okay. Let me talk about why I love turn-based. I don't know, 26 minutes in, and I'm talking about all this other stuff. The reason I like turn-based RPGs is because you could do a lot with the story with turn-based RPGs, but also you can do a lot with the story and gameplay with the turn-based RPGs. You know, because Expedition 33 is a good example of taking a story with the characters and then the gameplay. So good. I love it. Because when you know the characters and you play their gameplay style, you'll be like, oh yeah, this fits with them right up their alley. It's so good. And I miss that. So that's the thing. The reason I say I miss that is because there's a lot of turn-based games out there that misconstrue that. They'd just be like, okay, this is a character, and they're just going to do A, B, and C, and D, and they're here. We have turn-based. But I'm like, this is like, for example, you know how in Final Fantasy IV, each character was like their own little job class, and it reflected on their story, on the development of their story. You had a monk. You even had a Dark Knight character that was going through stuff because he was like, you know, kind of depressed and stuff like that, but trying to figure out how to get out of that. Not depressed, but you know what I'm talking about. Things were happening to him, you know. And then when he became a paladin, Cecil, it changed everything for him, you know. The one flaw with that game is that once Cecil becomes a paladin, it's like, yeah, now I'm just here for a cup of coffee. Let's continue on. And I'm over here like, it sounds like you were never the main character. What? We started with the game as you. At that point, just kill you off. Anyone that, you know, I'm not going to say anything if you haven't played it. You know, I can't even say that because people will be like, oh, so that's what happens in that game. No, I would just spoil it. I would just spoil it, so I just keep my mouth shut. But and then eventually when I went to Dragon Quest, I went to Shimigami because I heard so much with Shimigami. And the thing is, I played Shimigami. What was it called? Hold on, I have it here. I could just remember it right here when I just grab my stuff here. It's a Shimigami. I did play a Shimigami game. My first Shimigami game was Shimigami Tensei Hackers, I believe, with the spookies and stuff like that. That was my first Shimigami game. I never beat it, but that was my first Shimigami game, and now I'm going back to it to play it. I think the game is really fun. There are things that I'm kind of like questioning with because with the gameplay, it's like, hey, there's certain monsters that you can't tell what to do because there's monsters in the game that's like, hey, you can tell them whatever you want and they will listen to you. And then there's other ones that be like, well, you can't tell them what you want because they get pissed off and they won't do anything in battle, you know? So there's different tiers of what they will do, and I'm not a big fan of that. I know a lot of people might like it, but me, I'm over here like, I just want to have monsters in my party, learn the abilities that they have, and just use them, like in Shin Megami 5, you know? And I love Shin Megami 5. You know, and then when I got Shin Megami 5 Vengeance, I went to the other story, and I'm having a good time with that. I have to go back to it, obviously, because I took a pause. You know, because there's other games I am playing, such as Expedition 33, and I'm also making my game on on the what is it on the 3DS. I'm using obviously this RPG Maker Fez. So hey, my game might not see the light of day, but at least I'm making my passion project. I've been wanting to do it since I was 15 years old. There was that. Cause you know how you, cause you know when you have characters in your head, and you want to bring them out so bad, and you don't know how to do it, and they're like, and they eventually will tell you it, you know, it's like that video, it's like that movie, Taboli Flea with Nostalgia Critic. I know there's a lot of controversy with that movie, but the whole thing at the end of the movie, almost at the end of the movie, Nostalgia Critic goes like, "Tell me what to do." Like you're the writer, you know. And Nostalgia and Doug Walker, that is Nostalgia Critic. He literally tells Nostalgia Critic, "You're the character. You tell me what to write." It's true. I feel the same fucking way with my characters. Seriously, I'm like, you tell me what to do, man. This is your story. This is your world. Like I'm just showing everyone what it is. You tell me. You tell me what to write. You know. So I've always been that way with the characters that I create. You know, I've always been that way with my characters because I don't want my characters to be like. It's like it's funny that when you create a character, they have a life of their own. But again, that's a little side note right there. But it happens though. It happens. Some people might be like, "Oh, you get attached to your characters and all that." But if you've been having them since you were 15 years old, of course they're gonna have a life of their own. You know. You've been having them for a long time, so obviously they're gonna eventually speak to you and be like, "The fuck is that?" No, but Shimigami and Shimigami. I don't know why I want to say Twisted Metal. Shimigami and Dragon Quest have made me felt whole of an RPG that I felt empty with when I was playing Final Fantasy 15 and stuff like that, and the City of NT, because I knew Square Enix can do good with turn-based RPGs and even action RPGs. And then when I played Kingdom Hearts 3, after that, I just felt hollow and stale, and I just didn't care about this company anymore. Especially once they put that once they put that DLC out, it knocked my head even more, telling me that this game was never fucking good to begin with. Do you understand now, you idiot? And I'm over here like, I get it. Now I have a concussion. Fuck you. And then my other self is like, don't blame me, blame them. I hit you with the hammer so you can understand what was going on. They were doing the bullshit, not me. Oh man. You know how your conscience just tells you this is actually bad. Stop going through the honeymoon phase because this is actually shit. You know. So, but it happens. It happens though. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to a lot of us sometimes. But it's just a little story that I'm telling you how I got into turn-based RPGs and how I progressed with it and stuff like that. But my love for turn-based RPGs, I love it so much. I do. The fact that you can select your different types of characters, and even if some turn-based RPGs has one character, there's still so many things that you could do with that one character. It might get boring sometimes, or be like, "Oh, I wish I had another party with me," because sometimes that happens. You know, I felt that way with Final Fantasy. Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7. When I was with Zach all the time, I was just like, man, it feels kind of lonely being alone. But that's what happens, man. That's what happens. Look how when I first played the first Dragon Quest game, I was just like, damn, man, it's so lonely to be that lone knight with no party, and that tells a story too. People think that doesn't tell a story, but it does. Sometimes it could be a depressing story. Sometimes it could be a depressing story to the point that no one doesn't want to be in your party because they don't want to die. So now you're risking yourself to defeat the evil, to save everyone in the world, and no one doesn't want to be a part of it because they're scared to die or don't want to be a part of it because they think risking your life is way worse than just living your life. Don't throw away your life like they put in Final Fantasy 2. You know, I never get the hate for Final Fantasy 2. I love that game. It's not the best, obviously. It does have flaws, but it holds up still to this day. And I'm not going to talk about the whole situation of you hitting yourself and all that. You guys didn't figure that out until someone told you. Sorry. Yep, I said it. I fucking said it. I fucking said it. All right. Then you decided. Then you decided for yourself. Oh, this game is shit because I had to attack one of my parties. Oh, this game is shit because I have multiple healers. That is your fault. Final Fantasy 2 doesn't want you to have multiple party members to do multiple things. That's how you grind more. You fucking idiot. You will know this if you played the game, but you didn't. You didn't. You couldn't understand it. That's why I say sometimes, man. Like if you don't like turn-based RPGs and you try to get into like a game like Final Fantasy 2 and you're gonna talk shit about it, I lost all respect for you. Like I'm not going to listen to you with your movie reviews, game reviews, or even your own opinion. Why should I? Seriously, even if it's good and accurate to the point that hey, it will probably save someone's life, I still won't listen to you because I just don't give a shit at that point. I just don't give a shit. And that's what's sad. It is. It's sad. It is sad. I should never think that way, but I do. I should never feel that way, but I do. You know? So, these turn-based RPGs are never going to die. They're never going to die. The fact that some of these people want turn-based to die, to be replaced by action RPGs, even Square Enix wants that. And they haven't been seeing the results. Because instead of catering to their fans, they want to cater to the masses. And guess what? You make no one happy at that point. Make a game that you want to make. Don't make a game that you think the masses are going to love. Because at that point, you're not pleasing nobody. You're not pleasing me. You're not pleasing people that do care about action RPGs. You know? You know? People look at Final Fantasy 16, they're such a hardcore turn-based fan. Even some people that are hardcore action-based fans look at that game and they're like, this is trash. I didn't get the game because, well, I just don't trust Square Enix. I don't. Why should I trust them? But that's a different story for another day. Turn-based RPGs have never died off, and they're not never going to die. Uno, it's turn-based. What is it? Any board game is turn-based if you're taking turns. Chess, checkers, and card games. These are all and was it in dominoes? When you plant something, you wait for the next person to plant something else. That is to consider turn-based. Hello, McFly. You have all these other types of forms of media that are turn-based in a way. You're just not thinking about it because it's not a game. It's a game, but it's not a video game, you know? So that's what people would be like, oh, well, this sucks. But you can play Uno just fine and dominoes just fine. Oh, but I hate waiting. You have to do the same thing with Uno and dominoes. Wait for the other person so you can come around and be your turn again. Like, call a spade, man. You're just lazy. You're lazy and you can't think of a strategy. people that don't like turn-based RPGs. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You can't strategize for shit. So if you in a war, if they put you in a war, if you're a military soldier or any type of freaking army soldier, and they tell you some tactics, you would die because you wouldn't get it. You'd be like, I don't understand. I need to do some tactics? Oh, what is this? A turn-based RPG? Seriously, man. Seriously. People from World War One and Two would literally look at you and be like, you can't do strategy? Get off my face. Get the fuck out of my face. I'm dead serious. All those veterans are, obviously some of them are not around anymore, but all those veterans, I guarantee you, they would look at you and they'd be like, you can't strategize for shit? That's what we did in the fucking field, and guess what? We made it. We saved lives. Go fuck yourself. You know? Seriously. And then when I say that, people act like, oh, you're taking it too seriously. Then why? Okay, fine. If you think I'm taking it too seriously, then why are you going everywhere literally saying that, oh, turn-based should die, or it is dead, so let's switch it up with action RPG? Oh, could Dragon Quest go to turn-based RPG? I mean, could Dragon Quest go to action RPG so it can actually finally play it? No. No. Plus, there's other Dragon Quest games that are action RPG that you can play. Oh, but those are just side ones. I'm talking about the main ones. No one's not going to do that. Sorry. No mainline Dragon Quest game is going to be turn-based, action RPG. Now just don't play it. Okay, then. Play Dragon Quest Heroes. That's an action-based game, which it is a good, fun game. It is a good, fun game, and I highly recommend it. But don't come here and be like, oh, turn-based is dead, and let's just change it, and it's just an old little fad, and put action RPGs. Fuck off. Fuck off. Because Expedition 33 literally proves that turn-based is not going to die, obviously. And I'm not saying Expedition 33 brought turn-based back to the limelight, no. There's other turn-based games that are out here. Dragon Quest 11 is going to be turn-based. 12 is going to be turn-based. And let me tell you this right now. Dragon Quest 9 was this close to being action RPG. And guess what happened? In Japan, they freaked out. And they were pissed off. And they were like, you better not fucking change it. And guess what Square Enix did? They did not change it. Because they knew the backlash. Even here in America, people were like, you better not change fucking Dragon Quest, mainline Dragon Quest, to action RPG. Alright? Square Enix was this close to doing that because they were losing their fucking minds. They were losing the fucking, the sight of what Dragon Quest was. Seriously. And people were like, fuck you if you're going to do this. And now, Dragon Quest 9 is beloved. It's looked upon as like one of the greatest turn-based RPGs. Because it is good. It is fun. And yes, would it not change the fact that it was action-based? Probably not. But that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand this. Sometimes action RPGs and turn-based RPGs do different things. An action RPG does a different thing what a turn-based RPG does. Especially when it comes to when you're progressing through the story. And also how you're developing your characters. You know? I can't think of an example of how it could go. Like, I've heard examples before, but I've always forget of those examples of how you can make a turn-based and action RPG right, but also showing how can you make a turn-based Sqawn and an action RPG on, you know? So there is that. Because sometimes when a game is called for action, it should be action. But when a game calls for turn-based RPG, it should be turn-based RPG. It just depends what you're making. Like Dark Souls, the whole FunSoft series of those games, they're action-based. But there's things to do like timing, parrying, and dodging and stuff like that, you know? They have stuff like that that makes it more action orientated, basically. And that's what kind of what Expedition 33 kind of does with that. You know, it uses that type of style, but it's still turn based like the original Final Fantasy. But also they grab the menu of Persona 5. Because when you look at the menu for that game, you'd be like, yeah, that's straight up out of Persona 5. You know, they didn't have to do that, but they did. So, so, uh, um, so yeah, whatever. I think this game, I think turn-based RPGs will never die off. I know they will never die off. You know, even if turn-based games and even if turn-based games did die off, you guys are stuck with Uno, dominoes, and checkers and chess and card games. That's net. Those haven't died off at all. They haven't died off, and they look like they're never going to die off either. So when you tell me that you hate taking turns, that just tells me that you can't have a conversation with someone. That tells me that means you have to talk over someone to get your opinion over somebody so they can stay shut. Because you can't wait for someone to tell you something and be quiet for a bit and listen to what they have to say and then talk and be like, oh, okay, this and that. You know? Is talking turn based? Yeah, basically. But it's just something, guys, that you guys need to focus. Like, I would never understand the hate for turn based RPGs. You know? I don't hate action RPGs. I don't. But while I prefer the action RPGs that you see in Crisis Core and Parasite Eve 1, yes. Yeah. But do I also like the action RPGs that you see in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2? Fuck yeah. They all have their place. And a lot of people have been screaming for years, hey, that turn-based style that you see in Parasite Eve and also in um the original Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7. How come that hasn't come back? And it should come back because that's another gameplay style. I don't know why that hasn't come back. I've been begging for years for Square Enix to literally. I've told Square Enix before, Square, if you don't want to do turn-based RPGs, use the Parasite Eve gameplay. Why is that so fucking hard for you, you dumbass? Why is that so fucking hard for you? Why Final Fantasy 15 and 16 don't have that? They want to do some flashy shit so you guys can be like, oh, look at that. It's so flashy. Look at that. But do you know what enemy you just killed? What? Exactly. That's what I thought. 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 Do you know what character? Do you know what enemy you just killed? No. Then something's wrong with this action RPG then. You need to know what enemy you're fighting. If you're just slashing away and hacking away and be like, oh, it's just some enemy, then that's not a good game. That's not a good game. Every enemy in Dragon Quest and Shin Megami has been memorable to death. Has been. What do you think? What is it? Jack Frost is so memorable in Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, he's the mascot, but there's a reason why he's so memorable. You should see his original look. He literally looked like a snowman with a hat. Not a bad start of concept, but what he looks like now is perfect. You know, Jack Frost and Shin Megami, and his brothers. His brothers are all really really cool too, and especially the different variants of Jack Frost basically too. But other anything else I could say about turn-based RPGs that I really enjoy? I do like that when there's a progression with turn-based RPGs, you can see it. When some action RPGs kind of miss that step, not all do this obviously, but some of them do. When you're progressing through the game, sometimes you really don't notice stuff happening until like you look at your menus or you look at your items or you look how your character is and you're like, when did this happen? You know? But with turn-based RPGs, they literally you have to pay attention, and you also have to think about what's happening here. Sometimes sometimes in action RPGs, you have to just slice and dice, and that's it. But in Shin Megami Tensei, and sometimes in Dragon Quest, especially in Shin Megami Tensei, you you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to just press X and attack all the time. You are gonna die. You're gonna fail. They want you to pay attention to the enemy's pattern, to the enemy's weaknesses, and that's how you get rid of them. And if you can't do that, well, then guess what? You can't be in the fucking goddamn battlefield of war. You can't. You just can't. You just can't. And I'm always going to bring that up. I don't care if you. I don't care if someone disagrees with me with this. If you can't strategize, you can't be out in the battlefield strategizing. When someone's shooting at you, you're going to be fucking panicking and shooting at the other person instead of dunking and thinking, okay, they done shooting, maybe I should shoot back, or maybe go somewhere else and, prepare more on my strategy. Is that a bad concept? Seriously. And it's funny too, because some of these action RPGs do the same thing. Like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Go back a bit and replace your strategy. Again, going back, same thing with the FunSoft series of these games, the Dark Souls series of these games. You can't just hack and whack wherever you want. Are you high? See what that will get you? Dead, 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 dead. Oh, this game sucks. No, you just suck. Sorry, but turn-based RPGs will never die, and it will never go away. Turn-based RPGs have a special place in my heart, and it will always live on. It will always live on, and people that want to see it and people that want it so bad will get it. Seriously. It's like that one little thing from Alvin and Chipmunks. They're talking rodents. People will go. It's like, for real. For real. Can we get a hashtag on that?